What if your greatest gift is also your biggest threat? Aarav was a blacksmith known for forging masterpieces from iron, but he never realized that his own life was rusting away because he couldn't wake up. In a peaceful village tucked between rolling green fields and the towering arms of ancient mountains lived a skilled blacksmith named Aarav. His forge stood at the edge of the village square, where the ringing of hammer on iron once echoed with life and purpose. Aarav was known far and wide for his fine craftsmanship. His iron gates stood tall at many doorways, his tools lasted longer than most, and his sculptures had a grace that belied the hardness of metal. But despite his unmatched talent, Aarav had one glaring flaw. He could never wake up early. Each morning, his alarm bell would clang noisily in the little room above his workshop, echoing through the still air. Yet Aarav, curled under a warm blanket, would groan, stretch his legs, and smack the snooze lever again and again. The comfort of his bed was too sweet to resist, and the lure of just 5 more minutes always won. This habit cost him dearly. He missed orders, showed up late to village meetings, and earned a growing reputation for unreliability. His father had warned him. The village elders had cautioned him. Even his close friends had tried to nudge him awake more than once. But Aarav always brushed it off. "What's the harm?" he would say with a shrug. "I work better at night anyway." What Aarav didn't realize was this: the world moved with the rhythm of the sun, and by living out of sync with it, he was slowly falling behind. One day, the village chief announced a grand meeting. The annual Festival of Light and Unity was coming, and it was to be the grandest celebration the village had seen in decades. Everyone was excited. Roles were assigned: musicians, cooks, dancers, lantern makers, and to Aarav was given the most honored task of all: to design and forge a magnificent iron gate for the village temple. It was to be the centerpiece of the entire festival, a symbol of strength, beauty, and unity. The very next morning, the chief and his assistants arrived at Aarav's workshop to discuss the design and share sketches. They knocked, then knocked again. The forge was silent. The windows were shut. The hammer and tongs were untouched. Aarav was still fast asleep upstairs, lost in dreams while his future knocked at the door literally. The chief waited, then sighed. Time was ticking. With a disappointed heart, he turned to another blacksmith named Milan, a simpler man whose skills were average, but who was always punctual and dependable. When Aarav finally woke up and wandered down to his workshop hours later, he was stunned to learn that the commission had been reassigned. "You gave it to Milan?" he asked in disbelief. "But I'm better than him." "Perhaps," the chief replied gently, "but being good isn't enough when the world can't count on you." Aarav's heart sank. He had dreamed of making something unforgettable, and now that dream had slipped through his fingers because of a pillow and a snooze bell. That evening, Aarav sat silently beside the fire with his aging grandfather, Dadaji, a man of few words but deep thoughts. Sensing his grandson's sadness, the old man poked at the fire and spoke softly. "Aarav, I can see your regret, but if you truly want to change, you must first understand why waking up early matters. Let me tell you a story. Many years ago, in a village not too far from theirs, there lived 2 farmers, Varun and Sahil. Both had the same size land, the same tools, and faced the same seasons. But their habits were worlds apart. Varun rose with the sun. He would water his fields when the soil was still cool, tend to his crops while the birds sang, and finish most of his work before midday. His afternoons were calm. He read, spent time with family, and planned the next day. His life had rhythm. Sahil, on the other hand, loved his sleep. He woke late, rushed through chores, worked in the harsh midday sun, and came home tired and irritable. He rarely planned, and mistakes were common. One year, dark clouds gathered early. A fierce storm swept through the village. Varun, who had already harvested the bulk of his crops, watched safely from his porch. Sahil, who had delayed everything, lost nearly everything overnight. Dadaji paused and looked into Aarav's eyes. Waking early isn't just about discipline, he said. It gives you a head start on life. The world doesn't wait. Either you rise with it or you run behind it forever. That night, Aarav didn't sleep peacefully. His grandfather's words echoed in his mind. He realized his failure wasn't about the lost gate. It was about the many opportunities he had let slip before. He made a quiet promise to himself. The next morning, he set his alarm for 5:30 a.m. It rang, loud and jarring. His hand reached for the snooze, then stopped. He forced himself out of bed, splashed cold water on his face, and stepped outside. The village was bathed in golden light. Birds chirped, leaves rustled, and the crisp morning air seemed to whisper new possibilities. For the first time in years, Aarav felt alive. The days that followed were not easy. His body resisted the new routine. There were mornings he nearly gave up, but Aarav stayed firm. He began sleeping earlier, keeping a journal, and cutting down late-night distractions. Slowly, waking up early became second nature. With more morning hours in his day, he began accepting more work and completing it on time. His customers returned. His reputation slowly recovered. His hammer sang again in the forge. Months later, when the next Festival of Light was announced, something unexpected happened. The village chief returned, not just with an offer, but with a bigger one. "Aarav," he said, "this year, we want you to design the main ceremonial gate, the grand entrance that will welcome people from all over." Aarav accepted with a heart full of gratitude. He poured his soul into the project. Every curve, every weld, every design was crafted with care and pride. Not only did he finish it well before the deadline, but when the gate was unveiled, the villagers gasped. It was more than beautiful. It was powerful, elegant, and alive with spirit. That festival changed everything. Aarav's name traveled beyond the village. Orders came from neighboring towns. He began training apprentices. His life was filled with purpose. One quiet evening, Aarav sat once more by the fire beside his grandfather. "Dadaji," he said, "I finally understand. Waking up early isn't just a habit. It's the key that unlocked everything for me. I feel focused, I feel in control, I feel closer to my dreams." His grandfather smiled, eyes twinkling in the firelight. "And always remember, my child, those who wake early welcome success, but those who wake late forever chase it." From that day on, Aarav never returned to his old ways. His story was told in schools, in homes, and around many firesides for generations to come. And so, the boy who once couldn't wake up became the man who woke up to life. Goodbye.